So who is joining us? 4:22. Wow. Please, my apologies for coming in late today. I had some issues connecting. I had some difficulty connecting, but it's been resolved now. So I'll just wait for a few minutes for people to join us. Because I'm sure people came at 4 and they're wondering what's happening. Like, where is our host? Okay, so just a few minutes. Okay, I was trying to pin it. It works now. So who is joining us today? Who is joining us? Who is joining me? So that we can discuss. We're going to have part 2. Besides the topic last week, Saturday, we're discussing how to develop a good reading culture. And we will be having a part 2 today. Hi, Majex. How you doing? How are you doing? I hope you're ready to come in, because I'm thinking of bringing you to just... Oh! I thought it was a social media manager. That's Olatoye, but this is Olagoke. Yummy! Anyways, I'm still going to... Everybody should get ready to come in. Like I said before, I'm so sorry that I'm late. I know I'm late. I apologize. I've been feeling a bit down today. I think it's showing on my face, actually. Then I also had some difficulty connecting. Hi, Dolue. I think I'll just stop at Dolu. Hi, how you doing? Were you here last week? If you were here last week, I would like for you to share what you learned. The topic. Okay, let me put in the topic. Topic is developing a good reading culture. Developing a good reading culture. Olagoke is running away. Come back here, man. Oh, today. So we're talking. The topic is developing a good reading culture, and this is a program we are trying to make regular book conversations with WID-AFRICA, and basically, WID-AFRICA is an NGO. We're promoting development through education, and we started with library creation. So we have interest in everything education, from libraries to books, and also with the whole lockdown, people are at home. Some people have not fully resumed. Some people have started, gradual resumption, while schools have not resumed generally. And we have students, we have people who are just trying to read for professional exams. We have citizens generally who would like to develop a good reading culture. So we're sharing nuggets and tips. Last week we had a guest. He's supposed to join us. I'm waiting for him to come on to join us today. He shared tips. Some of the things he shared were, okay, have a target. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to just read for information? Do you want to read to be inspired? Because that would drive the kind of books that you would be interested in, and then you should start with the books you actually have interest in. So if you're not a reading person, first of all, reading is a good thing. To read, to have a good reading culture is a very good thing. It helps you as an individual. And imagine if everybody in Nigeria was reading. A lot of tweets, all those bans would be reduced, because people would be thinking more before tweeting, and we'll have more quality content out there. So you start with the kind of things you would like. If I'm just starting to learn how to read, I will not just jump in and go and start reading history books, start reading about the Third World War. Why? Unless I like history on otherwise, start with simple things, easy things to read, novels, something you can easily assimilate. Start with topics that interest you. And recently we've had a good crop of Nigerians who are going into authoring, writing stories. So they could even help to, when you pick a book that you can relate with. So rather than picking all those books and then they're describing a money with winter, this and with that, and you can't relate with it. You start with something you can relate with. If you read a book that has to do with coming to Lagos, I don't know if you're based in Lagos, you would enjoy because you can relate with it. I read books and then I laugh, and people around me are wondering what is wrong. But because I can relate with them, I can relate to things that they are saying about situations, about topics that interest you. If you're interested in feminism, you can read about feminism. If you're interested in democracy and governance, just like love. I told Annie, please, when you come in, indicate so I can bring you live to join me. I told Annie then that I've been reading more about relationships lately, Christian novels, and even just self-help books. Like I recently read Dating Intelligently by Laju, and I found it very interesting and useful and practical to, such topics, things that interest you. Then he said you should form the habit of journaling. So journaling is just like when you're reading for your exams, you have to take down notes, summaries. When you read the textbook, a topic, you take down summaries of, okay, what are the major things you learned from this, what you just read, what are your best characters, what is the topic, what's the theme. Journaling helps you, and journaling can also help to keep you accountable. So maybe at the beginning of the year, you say, oh, for this year, I will read 5 books, or for this month, I'll read 2 books. When you journal, it helps you to know, okay, that I've made progress so far. I've done 1, there's remaining 1. Then it says, get accountability partners. You can have a reading partner. You can join a book club. Joining a book club is also very useful. When you have a book for the month, you would come together to discuss it. That's something we are trying to, set up as WID-AFRICA, but we are not there yet. We're trying to set up not necessarily a book club, but having books of the month. And I think it will even also, improve the quality of our book conversations, such that when we have a book for the month, and if we have access to advise the author to come and have a chat with us, on a live session like this, I'm sure it will be very interesting to get to ask questions and all of that. So I'm still waiting for Annie. In the meantime, Yomi, are you still here? Yeah, Yomi has gone. So I don't know if anybody here was with us last week. We didn't take attendance, forgot. So if we have anybody that can help us, take attendance. And next week when I'm saying, oh, we were here last week and I'd like to share, we'll be able to catch people who were actually here and get them to join us. Annie is here. Welcome. Welcome. Yes, our guest is here. Okay, so Annie, I'm trying to add you. I'm waiting for you. It's showing waiting for Annie to join. Oh, hi. Good evening.
I hope you can see me. I don't know why it's having a still image.
I can see you.
Oh, okay.
But now I can't see you. It seems you're changing. You're flipping the camera, so I can see a chair. Then I can now see you. But I can see you now.
Okay.
So it's fine now. How you
doing?
Wait.
Which one is fine? Is it fine now?
No, you've changed again. I can see a chair and a fan.
Oh, okay. Great.
But I can see you now.
Okay.
So how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Although my image is still, I don't know why.
Really? But if you're moving from my end, I can see you moving and all, like normally.
Okay. Do you mind if I reconnect?
Oh yeah, there's no problem.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So our guest is here. We're about to dive in. We are about to dive in. Guys, okay. Okay, so I'm waiting for Annie to join me. Yes, it's better now. Hope it's moving from your end now.
Nothing really. I can't see anything. I really don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see me.
Yeah, I can see you very clearly.
Okay. I don't know what to do. I've logged out and no. Okay, let me try logging out. Canceling the application.
Oh,
One
okay.
last song.
Okay.
Yeah. If that
All right,
doesn't
no
work, then
problem.
we'll work with this one, yeah?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Bye.
Finally, is it better now?
Well, I can't see myself, but at least you can see me. So it's perfect. Let's go through it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I was just sharing about the importance of having an educated populace. So I'm like, okay, in terms of COVID-19 now, imagine if we had more educated people, it would be so easy to, communicate about what needs to be done, preventive measures, and easy to identify false information. And then I'll share an experience I had today, like not yesterday, but today. I wanted to buy something from a vendor. She's she was hawking, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't want to put it on my body because okay, COVID-19. No. But the woman
Yeah.
goes, there's no COVID-19. I'm like, madam, because you never catch somebody where now you make it talk. And I say, no, anybody will bring and come, now you go use your head, carry and go back. And I say, now for a
Mm.
second, I must go, they use bring and come. And she was like, even if I dey pass, I go jump and pass. I mean, even if that for road, I no go. She I
Yeah.
understand that we are religious, right? But
Yeah.
there's a place for education. That's right mindset of. And when I'm talking about education, I'm not even talking necessarily about going to school and being a graduate, but let's even talk about basic literacy. Because when you can read all these things and you know that okay, this is in vogue, this is happening, it makes it easy for you to communicate and say, okay,
Yeah.
stay at home. People can understand why. You can imagine in Lagos when there was a
Yeah.
lockdown and people took to the roads to start robbing households,
Yeah.
gangs
Yeah.
in estate and all of that in such a time and all
You
of
know,
that. I think something has
you
gone on
meant
with my life.
okay, but I can
Okay,
still
but I
hear
can hear
you.
you. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
You mentioned something about literacy, which I feel is key.
Yeah,
I feel the ability to speak in English could be, yeah, like it's termed literacy, but the ability to like read, yeah, write, and
yeah.
communicate as well, understand and
Yes.
I think those
And
ones are
exchange
key.
ideas. Let's not even talk about pure communication because from that woman's point, there was nothing I was going to say that would convince her
Yeah,
that COVID-19 was actually in existence. In fact, she started going spiritual on me, saying,
yeah,
oh, they will carry it back in their head and all of that. So she can read, maybe, she could write, maybe, but her mind. So I think it's more of the
yeah,
mindset. Are you willing to exchange ideas? Are you receptive to new things that are
yeah,
probably not they're not from your background, you don't know about them, say that she doesn't know what COVID-19 is. And
uh,
hi, Titi, she doesn't know what COVID-19 is and it's also going to come near her.
yeah.
The same thing applies. I saw something that really got me. In fact, now I'm trying to even limit the kind of tweets I read so I don't get angry because it gets angry. And then when I begin to talk, everybody around me is like, okay, I was just talking about a tweet or something else. I saw something else on Thursday where somebody was saying, "Oh, rape. That the rape is as a result of the way people dress. Take it or leave it. That rape is an
Mm.
invitation. Your dressing is an invitation to the way you should be addressed, treated. So if when a lady is naked, it's already an invitation for rape." I'm like, what the hell?
That's just insane. But you
And
you you
you,
you you should know that that's the mindset that is actually with lots of Nigerians. Like if you can imagine that that same remark he made was what in another way one of our lawmakers said. He was advocating for a bill saying that okay they should make put steeper penalties for rapists and all of that. But he after passing like talking about that bill, he now went on to say the women should dress decently so that they avoid this. So you can see that it's the mindset. People think that it's about
unless
the
unless they
dressing.
want to criminalize dressing, but from my own understanding of everything, dressing is
Yeah,
moral. So your morality determines how you dress. If you want to be naked and all, but rape
yeah,
is a crime. So
yes,
there are
it
two different
is.
things.
It
They're
is.
not. There are two different things. They should stop trying to make them one. Trying to say okay, dressing
Mm,
and this. No, dressing is moral. If I want to cover my hair or if I want to barb my hair, doesn't mean that you should
yeah,
come and cut my neck. It is for God's sake, they are just separate on their own. I started by apologizing for being late. I said I wasn't. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. I wasn't
no, it's
feeling so
fine.
good today, and
Oh,
then connecting was a bit difficult and all of that. But I think it's and surprisingly today's network seems very good.
Are
Very
you
smooth. I'm
serious?
surprised that from your end.
I don't
From
know
your
why I can't
end.
do that on my end. But just to say, okay, you know why it happens that anytime we have this, last week Saturday, it
I don't
rained
know.
heavily.
Something just comes up.
It even rained heavily last week and this week today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same
So maybe
thing.
it's just showers of blessings. But I can also see people that have
Abby.
joined. I've seen this
Yeah.
who joined. Hello, Swashi. Hello, ID. Too cool. You guys are welcome. And she sweet. Yeah, I hope I got that right. Then, then
There's
boundless
Boundless
hands.
Hands Africa.
All right. Thank you all for
Yeah.
joining, and hope. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm so excited. I'm not doing this alone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I already did a rundown of all that you shared last week. I wouldn't want us to go back there again because I already, while I was waiting for you, I was going through all that we learned last week. I'd like us to go straight into the crux of today's discussion, which is so
Okay.
what can the government do? I think that's why I was bringing an example of the whole COVID-19 and the rape thing because I'm trying to say, see how still the results of not having educated or basically literate people in society or people who would not read. So even those who are literate, there's no reading and all of that. So when they even express their views, it's so myopic and
It
all of
is.
that. So what does the government need to do or what can they do to promote reading culture even in Nigeria?
Okay. So
Yes,
first,
the floor is yours.
I think first, there's this adage that says, if you want to hide anything from a black man, put it inside a
Put it
book.
in a book. Yeah.
I choose because myself, I don't believe it because I read, but honestly, that's the situation in Nigeria. I've spoken to people who told me that since they left school, they can't remember how many books they've read or if they've gone back to pick like a like a book or any document to actually read. So it's an
Read.
issue,
Wow.
yeah, when people don't believe that reading is actually something that they should do, right? And I think it starts from um, our upbringing as well as the
Mm-hmm.
education system.
Yeah.
Now, now, lots of us, when we attended school, we had this timetable that told us, okay, this time we have this period for this, period for that, period for every other subject, but we barely had periods for library time,
Mm-hmm.
right? The school
Yeah.
I attended, I don't think there was even the library there. If there was one, I never knew about it. But of course, I knew there was computer classes. So,
Yeah.
uh, so from the foundation itself, we literally don't even have that what do you call it, reading culture ingrained in our educational system. So
Mm.
pointing again to another, remember this, the library where we built the library we built for the LEA school, Dagbana.
Yeah.
Now, their own case was actually kind of funny or ironic because they went as far as having library time or in their timetable. But guess what they did during that time?
No.
Like
I can't get.
teachers come
Will now come
to
and
tell
read.
no come to tell them what a library is.
Uh-uh.
Just teach them that okay, a library has this, and when she's over, if she finishes very fast, okay, they can go on recess at that time, or they get to read their notebook, that's their school book. So nothing like the first there was no library, but there was library time
Now,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
during that time, the teacher only comes to tell them about what a library is, how a library looks like. That's what they
Hmm.
learned. So there were no books, there were no there were no materials, there was no resource at all,
I
no
just come to
book.
talk about what the library is. That library time? You just make
Yeah,
it part of
well,
English or something. I don't know.
well, so that was the situation we saw there, and that was why we decided to change that course. And that is the same thing in virtually every most schools, most government schools. I remember attending a government school for my JS1 and JS2, and I don't remember us having a library or even
Yeah.
me myself having that flair to actually go look for a library because
Go look for a library.
there was no sense of like, what should I say? There was no sense of like, oh, there's a library or something, or teachers telling you go to the library and go find information. Nothing like that. So
It's true.
it's
I would
really,
like to add something here. I'd like to share here from this point you
yeah,
made too. When talking
yeah,
about the education system, it's very true. So I did
yeah.
my junior secondary school at ADGSS Asokoro before I moved to Gifted, and that was when they just brought in this UBE.
Oh,
I
you
think share when
did.
I share this, they just
You
created
went,
UBE. Then hello.
you went to gifted. You went to gifted school,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Babalada.
yeah. I did my senior secondary school in Gifted. But before I went to Gifted, I did
Yeah.
GS1 to GS3 at Army Day. That one in Abacha
Okay.
Barracks and
Oh, I
Asokoro.
know it.
And that was when they
Yeah.
just created the whole UB. So when you talk about the fact that even the educational system itself, now
Yeah.
till now, I still wonder why they enforce. Okay, I know I understand the concept, the idea, but I think there should have been infrastructure sort of to support that program. The UB separating, UB separating junior school from senior school. So you
Yeah.
have just one to
Yeah.
just three different
Mm,
principal, different teachers, different everything, and then there's one separately. The thing
yeah.
is, why might that school, the whole school, we just had that many classes, like let me say 5 classes. So we're still in the same building with the normal place that Army Day was. We're still in that same building, and we
Mhm.
had like 5 classes, and then principal's office that they used. Then the staff room was one other class. They separated, and all of that. And that's the school. There's nothing like no comment. These classes are not even enough. Talk more of a library where over 100 or maybe
Yeah.
more than I think over
Mm,
100 because we're now putting A and B in one class.
yeah.
So this when you enter
Yeah.
this class, you're not looking at GS1A, you're looking at GSS1A and B. So if
Yeah.
GSS1A had 90, GSS1B had 90, so you're looking at 180 children in one
Wow.
classroom.
Yeah.
So we're sitting down 3-3. We're sitting down 3-3. We're sitting down 3-3 in this seat. That
Yeah.
was my experience there. But then I had the opportunity of moving to Gifted, and I'm so every time I think about it, I'm thankful to God because it changed my mind on a lot of things. When I went to Gifted, we had a library period. So
Yeah.
that's different. And it's not compulsory for you to go to the library when during library period, but when you go there are books, relevant books,
Mm,
like current books that
mm,
you can actually read
mm,
and
yeah.
use. And then we're like 20 something in a class. I was like, where else is 20 in my class? We're like 20 something in a class. So I think that was due to the system of entry good.
Mm,
But I wish that is going to
mm,
be the situation of every other school because that is also a public school. It's not a private school. But it's
yeah.
entirely different. You wouldn't know. And you
Yeah.
can see it reflect in the lifestyle of the students.
Yeah.
The teachers have more control.
Yeah.
So in Army Day, when you enter the class, over 50% of children are doing whatever they want to do. You can even as a imagine a teacher. I had a teacher that was like my stature, and she would say,
Yeah.
"Keep quiet." All those core members then now come, keep quiet. And then we used to have people that didn't start school early, so they were like over age for the class. They have like people like
Yeah.
15, 16
Yeah.
in just
Yeah.
two. Who you
Yeah.
are even huge than the teacher? Who are you the teacher to come and tell them? So that's one because of the whole no library, we didn't have a library
Yeah.
at home. I usually used to go to a primary school close to my house to read. And this
Mm,
reminds me of Uwa. Uwa went to church to read. I've gone to church to read too before. I went to this primary school during holidays and there was nobody there, but I was safe. So I don't want to start crying about what's happening in Nigeria. Let me just leave that one there. But you can see that because I had a library in when I was in
yeah.
junior school, there was no concern about library. Just read your notes. Teacher will ask you
Mm,
questions from the notes that they gave you. What
yeah.
is social studies? You will write it out. But when
Yeah.
it was in gifted, we are made to research more. We're given essays to write.
Mm,
We're involved in
see.
debates. You will do presentation on the
See.
assembly ground. So we already started building that attitude of okay, wanting to know more, wanting to learn. That when I was
Yeah.
on holidays, I didn't mind going to a church or going to a school to go and read. And then there was nothing
Yeah.
like there was no it's not a special center, so you have to read for your
Yeah.
exams. Whenever I go home, I'm still reading. I had them, I was still reading because they'll give you holiday assignments and all of
Yeah.
that. So when you say that the government, the way the national structure, the structure of our educational system itself has a problem,
Yeah.
it is very true. I
Yeah.
totally agree. I just try
Yeah.
to convince
And
that I agree
yeah.
in this
Yeah.
20 minutes.
I know of that school because my sister actually attended the school, and I knew,
Really? Wow.
yeah, I did. I knew how when we went on visiting days, how organized the place looked, and
There's a difference.
yeah, the difference is clear. You wouldn't even believe it's a government school.
Is it?
So
Yes,
for me,
yes.
I feel if all schools can be as good as gifted, it's a plus. It's going to go a long way. So still talking about the points that you said, I think attitude is a major problem in terms of, because I'd like us to go through what the challenges are.
First off, yeah.
Because the lack of reading culture. I think attitude too is the same thing, because even from growing up, you find out how government relates to things that deal with art and things that deal with science at two
Science.
different levels. When it comes to science, everybody believes that a scientist is like probably superior, although these days we start saying that.
Yes.
So lots of schools will rather cater for science labs, chemistry lab, physics lab, and all kinds of labs. But ask
Please,
them
and
about
you have to forgive me because I would want to be sharing. I would want to be sharing personal experiences too. That table you are shaking, I want to break it.
Please go ahead.
It's true, and you know that it's a stereotype. It's subconscious.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't know who started it, but it's already somehow in the minds of parents, not just teachers, not even schools, even from the house, from parents themselves. And I don't know why or what the cause is or what started it to. I can't really say, but I think that we have gotten to the point where people in the other fields, people like you who are not scientists, have to stand up to defend the integrity or the royalty of your chosen path.
True.
So while I was in school, my school, I actually am proud of giving them. But this incident you're talking about now, we had a practical experience. I think there was an essay competition or something about I think it was to come and recite something. I can't remember what the competition was, but they didn't even make it open. They didn't make it open to people like us, the social sciences or the arts. You just suddenly realize that somebody in science class is already going to represent essay competition, someone in science class, debate, and they're also going for their Olympiad though. They are going for their further mass competition, and they're also taking this one. So I remember that I and some of my classmates then went to the principal's office. So that's another benefit of having an open mind. When we read and realize that, okay, we can actually create change, we can actually do this, and it's open. We actually went to principal's office, and I think we met the VP academics, and we expressed that, excuse me, ma, please, we are not dumb people here. You are not involving us. We're ranting. In the days that we're ranting that no, we're not involved. This and that, blah blah blah. We're not saying it's bad, but you're not involving us, blah blah blah. Like we're also good as these people. In fact, one thing about it is that before you get into gifted, then you have to pass a junior WIC. So even if somebody in science class had all A's, it means I also had all A's. It's when you come into school, you meet a guidance counselor, and then from what you like to do, your interest. That was, I think actually I started that because when I came from Army Day. I was good. I passed very well for me, so I've got to give them. But then I knew that I didn't want to go into pure sciences, but I wasn't bold enough to take that decision until I met the counselor. Then I can't remember his name. It's not a lecturer in Abuja, but then when I went to his office and it was like, okay, talk to me about yourself. What do you like to do? What don't you like to do? Okay, we have arts and science and then the social sciences. And then from everything I explained, he now told me that, okay, you fit into the social sciences. So you're not entirely in the arts line, but you are also not a pure science. You're not going to go and do medicine and all of that. And then I was in between, should I do economics, accounting, law? I knew that I didn't want to be a doctor. But I also didn't know, because of that mindset of, people going in this place, you want to be a musician or what, you're not. That year, he told me, no, don't think about it like that. And most of us that came to social sciences then, it was because we had that session with the guidance counselor. But then they were still not treating us equally until we went to speak up. So I think that's another thing. So maybe as we are saying the problem, we'll be saying the solution. So we also need to invest in both the science inclined children and then the art inclined. Don't think because I want to be a musician, I'm now dumb, and then you shouldn't invest in me.
Yeah.
So that's my rant point number 2.
I agree. That means you've been a fighter since your younger years. It's not just today you started being a fighter and being a one champion.
Really? Yeah, actually thinking about it though, really, I haven't forgotten about that incident until you mentioned this now.
Yeah, and I think one thing I got from the fact that what you mentioned, what you spoke about was the fact that you had a guidance and counselor. Yeah,
Yeah,
you had
yeah. So you're
guidance
not
or
automatically placed, yeah.
yeah. So that's I was just nodding my head and shaking my head in grief. Like that never happened in the school I went to. I attended. I attended. Let me bring them here. Let me try their own table here too. I attended government secondary school, Karu, the one that wears.
Caro, okay, just as Caro. I think I went there now. We did have a program on financial literacy one time.
Oh, great.
Don't go.
Hello, can you hear
Okay, we
me?
have you back here. Yeah, I can hear
Great.
you now.
So I was saying it was in my GS2 I moved to a private school. But even in that
Okay.
private school, yeah, even in that private school, there was preference for science inclined subject. We had almost like 3 or 4 labs. It was when we
Hmm.
were leaving, almost leaving the school, that we discovered that what do you call it? The headmaster or yeah, had this big stash of like libraries of a library that had books.
Are you
But the
serious?
books, that was because he was an ardent reader. He read, but he was an economist as well. He worked with the CDN back then. But the kind of
Oh,
books that were not really like,
for
there
your
were no
level.
storybook. Yeah, would go and would just be flipping. I'll be seeing GDP. I'll be seeing all of economic talk, all of that. We didn't understand it so much, so it wasn't.
Wow.
We just went there to pass time in a way, and just like sit there, probably have a conversation.
And
If we're
this,
trying from
you
class
know,
and
this today
gist,
put there who opened all those big books and put my name is who hope was here 2011. That's fine. Oh my
why
god.
did we ever do that? Why did we ever do
I
that?
don't
I,
know. I don't know. I think it just speaks to the need, the fact that every human being wants to be relevant. Basically, I think that's
yeah,
one of the things that speaks. So
yeah,
it just wants to
right.
don't want to be forgotten so easily. So never forget.
Mm, true.
Oh my god.
I agree. So
Yeah.
that I think real challenge that we really need to work on. Like you said, we need to pay more attention to both science
Yeah.
and science,
Ask
art,
students.
social
Yeah.
science classes, because that would actually help. Help us have a very good reading culture. Now, another thing that I'm very aware of, based on this school that we worked on, is that because we have because of the economic system that we have lots of people lots of parents that can barely afford to
Hmm.
buy books, that are low
Yeah.
income, so they can't buy
Yeah.
this book. When they even tell them about buying books and all of that, some students come to school without the complete textbooks and all of that. So it's an issue when you have people who can't afford to buy these materials that are being recommended in school. So I
Hmm.
think that's another challenge that
And
we
then they are
have in
always
Nigeria.
improving on the syllabus and
Yeah,
bringing new books and all of that. So it's not
yeah,
like maybe, oh, you can use the one your elder sister used some 5 years
mm,
ago and all of that.
true,
Wow.
true.
Well,
So that then another thing I would also see is lack of funding.
hmm. For the
Lack of
schools
funding
or
for the schools
from the point of the
themselves.
government, yeah.
Yes, this for the government. Now, from the point of the government, there's actually lack of funding when it comes to. It's still the same thing we're talking about, funding arts
Yeah.
inclined subject. So when you have schools that are competing with funds to build more classes because of the amount of
Hmm.
people that they have, do you think they will be thinking
Mm-hmm.
of a library, like library space?
Library, yeah.
They,
That's
they,
luxury.
that's luxury. But for us to build the
Yeah.
library and build there, we had to work with the school and the ministry as well to demarcate one of the classes. So one of them
Hmm.
is now serving as a class because they have just like 7 pupils there, and the other class
Okay.
was designated as a library. So
Library.
that funding is also a major issue, because if there are no funds, you can't build a library. You can't.
Library, yeah, actually,
You can't
to
buy
library
books.
development is expensive. It's capital
It
intensive.
is.
Oh.
It is. Thank
It's
God.
capital intensive.
Some libraries, and you are the one that will even tell the story more, Seth, about how capital intensive it
Ah,
is.
it's capital intensive, really.
Yeah,
And I
yes,
don't know why, from talking from the NGO point now, I don't know why
yeah.
it seems like there are no funds, there are not much funds supporting the whole library development. And I don't know why. I can't tell
Well,
why. Or maybe I'm just the one who has not come in contact with people who are interested. But it's so difficult to get funding for library development
like,
now. most
yeah,
most funders are interested in health. They're interested in women empowerment. They're interested in want to come and share food or something. But when you talk about, I want to do a
yeah,
library, maybe because they can't really see the impact immediately.
impact.
I think that's why. Maybe because you can't just see when you give me money and then I tell you that, oh, I shared food to 500 people, you can already see it
Yes.
immediately. But
Hmm.
a library, the impact of a library is a mindset change that will be gradual. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah,
It's not because I
yeah,
launch the library today that means that
yeah,
automatically there will be a change. You might not see this
yeah.
change now until maybe 5 years, until 10 years,
Mm,
when the children that went through
mm,
that school and have made
yeah,
better choices for themselves, when they're able
yeah,
to progress in tertiary education. I think that's what makes it difficult to substantiate. When you can't see a product, it's
yeah.
more difficult to substantiate
True,
the value.
true,
Or
true. I
maybe I'm
agree.
the one, maybe we're not looking in the right places. But really,
Well,
for this year, we're already thinking of pivoting from library development. Okay, maybe we should just look at something less capital intensive so that we don't drain ourselves in the name of trying to create a change. And then you don't even see there's no value immediately. People don't, it's not really appreciated yet and all of that.
yes.
But I think that's where the point of advocacy comes in. So,
Yeah, just like you said, I think it's like I once worked in a music school where I was the head administrator and I also taught music. Now, the fact is this: parents come to the school, and the first thing they ask you is this: uh, how soon? After they hear everything you say, how soon can my child start learning how to play the piano?
play
That's
the
what they want to learn.
we
Now,
are in a haste generally.
yeah,
We want the
we're in the
yeah.
and it doesn't work that way, especially things that deals with mental and
Yes.
cognitive
It's a
skills.
mindset shift.
It's yes, so it can't just work like that because okay, take for instance, I'm not talking about going to learn how to do do re mi fa sol la ti. I'm talking about learning first the music theory. That's the first thing. That's the first point you come when you're learning music. You learn the music theory. You learn how to read and interpret. That could last for 2 months or 3 months, depending on the pace of the child. It could be 1 month,
Of the child,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the pace and the interest of the child. So when you look at it like, okay, I'm building this library and I want to see the impact. You may not see the impact so much, but another thing,
Immediately. You might not even see it in the next 1 year or 2 years. It might
no,
take, okay, maybe when after a while, after getting the library created, you have to also work on the mindset of the people. Let them even see the relevance of this
yeah,
library and make use of it. They need to make use of it before
that's
you can even begin to see that, okay, oh yes, there's a library here. Okay, maybe you can answer that, okay, they perform better at common entrance or at WIEC. But outside of that, just getting the library done is not a result on its own. It's a partial result,
mm,
but it's not the end. Basically, it's just a means to the main end that we are trying to get.
talking about that. I would like to put you on the spot because I know that after you guys created the library at
Yeah,
the IDP camp, you guys still went there to actually
yeah.
teach them and read, like form a book club. So maybe you should talk about that
Book
because I
club.
think that's really important. It's not about building the library per se, the physical structure, but also about making the children interested in reading. So probably you have to
Yeah,
share.
you read it. So you've
Yeah,
actually put me on the spot and all
yeah,
of that. Then I want to start from the whole project. You're right about the book club thing, but we were not able to progress with the book club. So after doing the library, getting a book club running means that we're going to get club officers, means
yeah,
that we're going to be paying those people, even if they're going to be volunteers, because they probably
yeah,
need to be qualified people who are giving their time and all of that. And we didn't
yeah,
have the funds to maintain that. it wasn't sustainable to get our programs officer then goodness to go because of the distance, and then she just had a baby. So the whole book
Yes.
club team died. With that
Oh,
part of the project just died. And it was
I can
why
only
is your face? Why
imagine.
are you looking so
No,
sad?
no,
You
no.
can
I'm
imagine
sad.
how
Yeah, because I know you guys invested so much in
yeah, so
getting
much
that
on it and
library
all of
done.
that.
And the fact is this: if kids don't know, if the person don't understand the purpose of a thing, you can as well use
Just
what do you call
abuse
it?
it or maybe not even use
Abuse
it.
it.
Yeah, but what we try to do, what we were able to do is the fact that we were able to have midline surveys. So having midline
Okay.
surveys kind of puts that responsibility, even if not 100%, but a part of the responsibility on the school to ensure that
Okay.
children use the library, because we will come back in the next 6 months and interview
Mm,
the children to say, okay, so have you been using the library? Does she allow you to go? That's the only thing. But there's a limit to that too, because even if they tell you no, I'm not using the library after 6 months, after 1 year, are you using the library? And the children start to say no, you can't carry the library back.
true. True.
The
I
only thing is
agree.
that okay, the only thing is that she might say, oh, we will not be investing much again in this library because
Yeah.
we're not getting the
Mm,
results that we want, which is why I said we might pivot from it. But the fact, it would have been better if we had our own people, if we had volunteer book club officers go there maybe
yeah.
once in a week to go and
Yeah.
talk to children and help them out and
Yeah.
maybe pick a book and all. But to do that, our remember beneficiaries don't even have their own school textbook. So if you're even going to say, oh, book of the month, it means that we'll have to be the ones to bear the cost of the book for the term, or we have to bear the cost of the books, we have to bear the cost of getting the volunteers there. Even if there'll be volunteers, even it's better to get
Yeah.
a qualified person who will be patient, because one thing about teaching is not everybody is a teacher. You might know it, but knowing it and
Mm,
communicating it effectively to somebody else is a skill that needs to be learned. We were
true.
planning that, okay, we're going to have an orientation for, that's why I said it was just capital intensive and then we couldn't proceed. We're going to have maybe a 1 week boot camp for intending book club officers. So after recruiting them, we can now have a training where they will be, where
Yeah.
we invite a qualified teacher to come and prep them and give them the minimum that they need to know about managing a class, carrying the children
Mm,
along and all of that. So after we have to
yeah.
do that kind of training, and then maybe even if we're not paying them a full money, you have to give them stipends for transportation and all of that. And whole life at that, even till now, we do not have the capital capacity, I mean financial capacity to manage that. And we were not able to get partners, as I said, people who would want to invest, because NGOs, like we've not seen a big NGO and like an international one that will come and partner with us. But most people now want to invest is okay, we are going to go and share food,
Yeah.
or we are going to
Yeah.
go and share bags, or we are
That
something
one
that they
is,
can see an immediate a today impact.
yeah.
When you
Yeah.
do, if you invest such an amount, which is why I'm having this question, okay, what can the government do? Because I feel like the government should really take responsibility for these things if NGOs are not able to, because the government have teachers that they can assign. If the government makes it
Yes.
compulsory, okay, you must make a book club in every school. If you do that and then you
Yes.
send your monitors when people are coming to
Yeah.
do monitoring of schools to come and see, okay, give me your reports, give me minutes of okay, all the meetings I've had. Sorry, it will be better
Yeah.
off than for we as an organization to carry that kind of burden on our neck,
Yeah. Yeah.
basically, especially because we need
Yeah.
funding. So that's why I told you that we're having the conversation of okay, maybe we need to cut when we're going to pivot from the whole library thing and focus on,
Yeah.
what we can look at other aspects of promoting education. We can look at giving scholarships to children per term, but we now begin to focus more on advocating for more investment in libraries,
Investments in
more
libraries.
investment in
Yeah.
such clubs in schools by the governments themselves. That's
Yeah.
that's the conversation we're having now. Okay, how do we now focus
Yeah.
more on advocacy? Because I'm no longer a one champion, but anyway, I'm still a one champion.
Mm. Yeah.
My tenure has
No,
ended, but it doesn't mean that I still have the
yeah.
knowledge. One takeaway I had from my experience being a one champion is the fact that, okay, human charity, when you talk about creating a change, civil society, it has to do with
Yeah.
advocacy and then charity. So charity is what we're doing
Mm,
before, where you're looking for the money to come and do it.
yeah.
But now,
Yeah.
when you bring in advocacy, it makes your charity work better. It makes it easier because you are now
Mm,
advocating for people who have the right resources and the right power to create that change that you want, to actually put it in. So you're not just
yeah.
struggling, because no matter how good we are or the kind of money we have, how far can we really go? How many schools can we really reach. And even if you get book clubs or book club officers and all, it will be a recurring course because there's no career progression. I'm not telling you that, okay, you become an assistant book club officer in 1 year, next year become a book club officer, next year become a book club manager, and you become a CEO. So there's no career progression. Let me not say normal, sorry, no right thinking person rather wants to become a career path that does not have growth, like a growth trajectory. I have to be able to see myself, okay, where would I be in the next 5 years if I come now and say I want to work with you as your book club officer? Where would I be? So now the conversation is more of how do we begin? So I'm actually open. I think I'm sharing. It's not like I'm sharing a problem and I'm asking for a solution, and then I'm sharing a solution I think might work. How do we get the government to? How do we advocate for the government and other parastatals that have the resources? So when we were doing our project, I told you the National Library supported us. They gave us books. But imagine if the National Library could actually have a department that would be in charge of monitoring libraries in schools. So they ensure that, okay, all these books we have, they have books in National Library. All these books we have, we ensure that, okay, there's a library in every school and there's an assigned librarian, a qualified librarian in the school that will ensure that the librarian will be more of a check on the principal to make sure that that library time is in the timetable and it's actually used by the students in the library. And that person will be giving reports to the National Library where everything will be coordinated. So NGOs like us can just come in to support. We can have volunteers to come and support. Maybe just also to come and talk to the children, to come and share experiences. It's going to be support. So I have come to understand that shouldn't be the primary duty. It's not the primary duty of civil society to develop libraries. No, that's the work of the government. The government needs to do that. We are here to support and keep the government accountable and advocate for more investments. Okay, let nobody be left behind. Don't just focus on the schools in the city alone. Come to the villages too. We can begin to do that. Not us carrying it on our neck. To really, it can get very depressing when you have a big image, when you've done the proper work, and then but to proceed, you need that kind of project.
Just what you said, you've just thrown lots of insights with what I'm thinking. With what you just said, I already noted here that there is now a dearth, like the career of librarians is actually dying out.
Yes,
we normally
how many
don't.
People did library and information science and actually working. Goodness studied them, library and information studies. Our former program officer. That's what she did, and that's why she had that whole library ginger. But now she has the PGD in education, so she's going into the teaching aspect of things. You realize that most people are pivoting, not just organizations are pivoting, even the individuals are pivoting from that career to let me look for something else.
Yeah, just like you mentioned, there is no career progression. What did you get? Go to how many schools will you go to and you find a library? So do you think they will need your service? They won't. So that's another issue. And I really love the point you also mentioned about the National Library actually being being at the center of this advocacy.
Because when I hear National Library, first of all, I don't want to believe that National Library is supposed to be a big building in Abuja where you have a lot of books. I don't think that is what a National Library should be. I think the National Library should be responsible for coordination of all library activities in all government institutions, both primary, secondary, tertiary. That should be one of the things. Even though I am yet to confirm if they are doing, I know they usually have a reading campaign yearly where they organize reading competition, they do presentations, and then teachers, principals come, and then they donate books to schools. I know they do that because that's why they donated to us too. But I just think there should be more. There should be more about holding the government accountable. They should also project. Okay, we need funding for this. And and then maybe they do this, but they are not communicating it, and we are not seeing the results. So communicate is not just doing. If you're doing it in a corner, nobody knows they are doing it. You need to say it. You need to publish reports. How many schools do we have in Nigeria at the moment? How many schools have a library? How many librarians do we have? That kind of thing. Make us know that something is happening. I'm getting too passionate. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep it down, but it was oh my god.
It's actually good because what you're saying is not only subjected to just the library is almost everywhere in terms of government agencies where they lack that proper communication. So there's a deficit on what they are doing and what the people know they are doing. Take, for instance, the National Library. After this IG Live, I'm going to check if they actually have a handle.
They
Right?
have an idea and we tag them, but I don't think the handle is functional because I've not seen any recent post. I think that was like 2018, 2017. But when they donate to us, we tag them and say, oh, thank you. We got donation from the National Library. But okay, looking at it now, I'm just imagining now. The National Library donated to us. We are civil society, we are an NGO. You gave us books. We told you that we're going to donate these books to schools. And we even invited them for the library launch at Chikwe. We invited them and then they came. They actually came with a Hilux and raised the occasion and all of that. But after that, there has not been any other communication. So imagine me, I'm giving books to a school and I'm still going back 6 months later to check. I hope I have not sold all those books I donated there. Hope children are using it. But you, the National Library that gave an audition, civil society audition books, you have not communicated, okay, progress reports, what's happening so far? Do you need any other support in any other way? What about the schools donated to? Have you gone on your own to go and do a check to ensure that we actually donated, these books? And okay, see what? In fact, you know what? When they came for the launch at Jikwe then, the people representing actually made comment. They commended us for doing the work, and they also made recommendations that, libraries do not last where there's heat. So we need an AC, we need this. I would be happy to have a further communication. If we had the funds to buy an AC, why not? But the fact that it's not there means that we do not have funds. And can you organize an annual maybe funding program for NGOs like us? Okay, are you into library development? We have this fund, or we have this, maybe the government is apportioning 200 million or something to the National Library. Out of this 200 million, we want to give 10 million in form of grants to NGOs who are supporting library development in Nigeria, and then you come and do a progress report. Is anything like that? There's nothing like that. There's no capacity development. They never invite us to say, we're organizing a training for people doing this. Or, okay, come, let's do this. We don't have, that conversation is not there. So, as you know, my normal 9 to 5, I'm an accountant. I just have a passion for education and all of that. And this is one of the reasons why I have not been able to, or I have not seen myself leaving my profession to come and say I want to do this full time, because I'm like, okay, so what is the future of this thing? What is the future of this thing? You see NGOs who start up with other areas, and they easily get the support that is needed to grow. So these people can actually leave their normal careers and focus on this full time. But when you are focused on an area that is not getting the right support, it's very difficult to leave certainty for uncertainty. Because even the Bible says, I hope delays make the bones weak. So when I come, then I'm starting doing and I'm doing this, I'm pushing, and then there's no support, I would just, let me just pivot and look for what I can handle, what I can do, and not grow team. Because I'm doing it.
True, I agree. I agree with that, because
happy. Because you'll be creating a change and be getting depressed because you're trying to create a change. So
and we don't want
this we don't want that. You don't want to try to create a change and be killing yourself in the process. So it has to be a win-win situation. The government has, in fact, my stance now is that the government has to come in. That's my own. The government has to come in. We've gone past, we're trying to do this. We're not trying to do this again. We're trying to make the government realize that there's a need here and they need to come and work with it. We are available to provide support. We can consult from the end. We can give render support and all, but we are not willing to carry that on our shoulders. It's no longer it's not our responsibility.
So I think because of this, I think it would be good to actually strike that conversation with the National Library, getting them to getting to even know what they are about, what purposes they serve, because it's really good. Probably the thing with government agencies and organizations is they could actually have that beautiful policy that this is what they are meant to do. But in terms of,
and they are very supportive. Like why I believe so is because they didn't know us from anywhere. We just came with our proposal, and they saw us stream. In fact, I almost stopped following up. They were the ones who sent me a mail and called me that, I use so you submitted an application for books that I wanted to donate. Your books are ready for pickup. You understand? So
Wow.
it shows that they might actually have the structure, they might have the
Yeah.
system, but I think there's
Yeah.
like a gap. There's a gap
Uh,
for communication and that accountability, enforcement, and all of that. I know they were focused one time on, they have a new building they were working on one time. I don't know if
yes.
it's completed now. I've not been in Abuja for a while. Is it
Central.
completed now?
No, 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 none, no.
And also,
The one that
I
said
even think there's like a, are they trying to, I know they're part of the Ministry of Education because I know that when we asked for well questions, they referred us to the Ministry of Education, say, okay, go to the Ministry of Education and go and discuss and all of that.
mm,
So I don't
okay.
know why this is giving me a countdown, saying 18 seconds more.
Oh, okay. That means we've exhausted an hour. It's meant to be for an hour.
Oh, really?
Then it logs off. Then we have to log in.
Wow. Okay, but we have to come back. We can come back again to
Yeah.
continue, right?
Yes. Definitely.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. I think that's what we'll do.